Through the years, we all remember when we first witnessed a national tragedy.
Alabama wins!
We remember the good times and the bad times through either a song, a TV show, a monumental sports achievement.
For the first time in 86 years, the Red Sox have won baseball's World Championship. Can you believe it?
Or even the smell of a particular food from when we were young.
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
Welcome to the show that will take you on a journey through time to relive those iconic moments. Welcome to RTW Rewind, where old school rules. So, without any further delay, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois.
Hey guys, welcome back to RTW Rewind. This is the 2022 Royal Rumble pregame show, and I am joined by the Doctor of Style, the Doctor of Funk, Mr. Dr. Jargo. Michael, what's going on, buddy?
That's Dr. Jargo, PhD, as Britt Baker would like to put out. What's going on, Rob? It's good to be here, man. You asked me to do a Rumble show, and I was like, man, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. I wasn't covering the Royal Rumble. I didn't have anything to do for 19 hours tonight. So yeah, man, let's do it, man. Let's do the pre-show. Let's watch the damn show, and then let's do the post-show too. It's going to be a crazy night inside of the WWE universe. Rad Rob, are you ready to rumble?
I am ready to rumble, and I'm glad you had a nap because you're all fired up and ready to go.
Well, you told me just be me, man. I just turn the switch on. You hit the live button, you get full Jargo all the time.
Full Jargo. Wow. That's your wife probably enjoys full Jargo as well.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
So we haven't talked in a while. Obviously, you have a lot going on with your many podcasts. What else is up? I heard you're possibly relocating. You just bought a new house.
Yeah, well, some things came up, and then some things didn't work out, and then the wife and I got to talking, and it was like, you know what? We're in our early 40s. If we're gonna do it, let's do it now. Because, in 10 years, you're going to be too damn old to do it. So the weather hit like -30 for about 2 weeks. And it was like, okay, so on the list, we have Florida, we have Georgia, we have Texas, we have Arizona. Like, let's send out some applications and see where things may fall. And maybe the next time we talk, I'm not sitting in the middle of the frozen tundra.
Yeah, hopefully not. And I mean, it does get old after a while. So, I mean, I grew up in the Northeast. It sucks.
I mean, I don't mind the cold, man, but once you start getting into that -20, -25, and it's like you don't feel anything anymore. And the only thing I can explain to people that have never been that cold is it burns. I mean, it's just it's absolutely insane. Let alone when you got to go move like 9 inches of snow on top of it. So nope, I'm done. So anybody looking for behind the scenes TV people, hit me up.
Okay. Well, I can't
watch. All that said, I'll end up in like Denver.
Right? Yeah, I know. I just follow MSG's footsteps.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the game plan. So
it worked out well for him, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the game plan, but I need to get some things in order before I can end up in the desert.
Right, exactly right. So tonight is the WWE Royal Rumble. Their official post-game show goes live in less than an hour. So we want to come on here and do our own version. A better version of the pregame show because they don't know what the fuck
An honest version of the pregame show.
That's exactly right. Is there anything at all that you're looking forward to tonight? Anything?
I think the most interesting thing going into tonight is how the card's laid out, right? I mean, where the Rumbles are positioned on the card, where Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins happens, when does Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar happen? Is it before the men's Rumble? Is it after the men's Rumble? And then I actually have the list here. For the men, we have 25 names announced. For the women, we have 23 names announced. So we are in for some surprises in some way, shape, or form. And I don't think in my time of watching the Rumble, there's ever been one that was this wide open. Mm-hmm. Like we got 25 names for the men. I can only make cases for about 6 of them to win the Royal Rumble tonight.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. I'm looking forward to see what they do with the two main titles, Lashley against Brock Lesnar and then Roman Reigns versus Rollins. Some people are really thinking that Rollins could win. Do you see any possible scenario?
I'm on that train.
Really?
Because for me, as I look at the landscape inside of WWE right now, which I don't get to talk about a whole lot these days,
Right.
but there is such a wide transparency between Roman Reigns and between everybody else on the roster at this point. So I would make tonight the Roman Reigns show.
Mhm.
What I would do, what's Roman's catchphrase right now? Outside of acknowledge me, what's the other thing that he says all the time? He's going to smash everybody.
Yeah.
So this is the way the night goes for me, Rad Rob. I open with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. By hook and or by crook, Seth Rollins wins the championship of the universe.
Mhm.
Veer is number 1 in the Royal Rumble. We're finally going to get Veer.
Right.
And then Roman Reigns comes out and smashes him and takes his place as number 1 in the Royal Rumble match. And he proceeds to smash everybody.
Wow.
And he eliminates 29 other men in the Rumble all by himself. Roman Reigns eliminates everybody. And then at the end of the night, he challenges Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and you're off to WrestleMania. Like, I make this the Roman Reigns show all night. It's Roman Reigns all night because he's the only guy that anybody gives a damn about in the WWE right now.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. All right. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Let's start off with what I think is going to be the order. Leading off the show, we have The Miz and his smoking hot wife, Maurice, who's had 2 kids and still looks fantastic. I wish I did.
Props to Maurice.
Taking on
Props to
Ed.
Mike, too. I mean, for bagging Maurice, right?
I mean, he outtakes his coverage, right? I mean,
it's the greatest con of all time.
Right. Exactly. Well, he's a carny. So, taking on Edge and his wife, the equally beautiful in some people's eyes, Beth Phoenix.
On, bro.
Not a great NXT commentator, but she's a hell of a wrestler.
Is she? I mean, like, no disrespect to Beth Phoenix, but Rad Rob, what's your favorite Beth Phoenix match off the top of your head?
The last one.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Beth Phoenix. Hall of Famer, sure. I remember Beth Phoenix. Don't remember one single match that she ever had.
Well, let me say this. She's better than her best friend, Natalia.
When you're starting with a low bar, Rad Rob, I mean.
Fair. No, that's fair. No, that is fair. So this has been an entertaining program. Not something I thought would be coming into the Rumble, but now that they're here, I'm actually interested to see what happens. What do you got for this one? Who do you think takes home the win on this tag team match? The mixed tag team match.
Well, let me flip this around for you a little bit, because at this point of the year, I feel like we have to book backwards. Okay. What is Edge doing at WrestleMania?
Other than being at Access, I have no idea.
Okay, so I guess my question: are we going to drag this on? Like,
I mean, I guess it could.
If this program is going to continue until WrestleMania, then The Miz gets the win tonight. If this ends tonight, then Edge gets the win over The Miz, and he moves on to whatever he's going to be doing at WrestleMania. But I could see where they drag this on for another month or two, because I think WrestleMania is actually the end of March this year. Like, it's really early. Yeah, so we're only looking at about 2 months between now and WrestleMania. If they're going to drag this out through Saudi Arabia and then through WrestleMania, Miz gets the win tonight.
Do you want to see Miz and Edge at WrestleMania? Is that a WrestleMania worthy match?
What else is Edge going to do at WrestleMania? I mean, that's my real question here. I mean, like, should we be looking at Edge as a potential entrant in the Rumble and potential winner of the Rumble if we do see like a Seth Rollins win, the WWE Championship from Roman Reigns tonight? Is Edge main event worthy at WrestleMania? And if not, then what the hell is he even doing there?
That's why I think they've kind of booked him into a corner with this stuff. Like, there's no other program for him to really do. Agreed. Given the age that he is. I mean, obviously it's wrestling. He's in fantastic shape. He could be world champion. I mean, he is a Hall of Famer.
And let's not disrespect Miz either. I mean, when you look at the hierarchy inside of the WWE right now, how many guys can you say is a bigger star than Mike Mizanin? Like, he's on the short list at this point.
Yep.
I mean, being opposite of Miz, is that really the worst spot for Edge going into WrestleMania?
No, I mean, look, the Miz has had a fantastic run. I mean, probably one of the best runs in the history of the business, given the fact that he was hosting SmackDown in what, 2004, 5, somewhere around there.
I mean, he's been around for pushing 20 years at this point.
He's been around longer than John Cena, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean
from going thrown out of the locker room to where he is now, Miz has done all right for himself, and Maurice being back immediately makes Miz like 100 times cooler.
Yeah, absolutely right. Bruce joins the show. Well, enjoy the show tonight. That's
shout out to Bruce.
Yeah,
you should probably be standing in line by now, man. I mean, the show starts in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody goes to the pre-show, right? I mean,
that's true. And there's nothing advertised for the pre-show.
There isn't. So, I mean, we're not going to make any predictions on whatever dark matches they have during the pregame show because obviously we don't.
There's nothing.
Have any information, right? So, I'm sure they'll do something. You know, I like where your head's at. I can see Miz and Maurice winning this one. I can see Edge possibly going into Elimination Chamber in Saudi and maybe winning that and then facing, I guess is it his choice or is it whatever show he's on? I don't know the rules when it comes to.
It's his choice. He could go after either championship.
So here's what I never understood. Like going through 29 other participants to win a title shot at WrestleMania is a huge deal. But why have an Elimination Chamber match too? Which I know, like, okay, it's grueling. It's the most barbaric structure, blah, 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 blah. But it seems like winning the Rumble is a lot harder to do than going into a chamber with like 5 other guys and possibly getting the same title shot that the winner of the Rumble does. It just doesn't seem fair to me.
I did a show with John Paz earlier this week where we were looking at the best guy to win the Rumble and not main event WrestleMania. And I didn't think that the list would be nearly as long as it is. It's like seriously like a 50-50 shot. I mean, like you might be Alberto Del Rio. You might be Sheamus. You might be opening WrestleMania for the championship match, but it's only about a 50-50 shot. So like you're not even guaranteed the main event of WrestleMania. It might be an 18-second squash match and you just happen to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
That is true. That is very true. What up, Bobo? He thinks Miz should be close to Orton level talent.
I agree.
I mean, I can make a case for that. I mean, he's a good worker. He's got great personality. We obviously know he can cut promos. Yeah. He's the safest worker in the company because
when it comes to making a major media appearance, they don't send Brock Lesnar and they don't send Roman Reigns. They send Mike Mizanin.
Well, I always called him John Cena Jr. because he would make all the appearances, all the charity appearances, all the be a star, all the TV spots, all the radio spots. So, I mean, he is the hardest working guy in WWE. But
he doesn't get hurt and he doesn't hurt other people.
No, he's very soft. But I have heard through the grapevine that he wants to call it quits pretty soon. This actually might be his last year. So do you give him one more, big run at the WWE title?
I think I would give him a run at it. I don't think he would win it.
Okay.
But Maurice has to be around because the only time I take the Miz seriously is when Maurice is around.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, you look at him with John Morrison and as entertaining as it was, Miz does not feel like a main event act. As soon as you add Maurice back into the equation, you're like, I don't know, man. Should we take Miz seriously? Like he immediately he becomes a more serious character when she's around. And you can always go to some kind of by hook or by crook. Oh, Maurice happened to have a brick in her purse and the Miz is the freaking world champion. I mean,
all right. So I think we're both in agreement here. We're both going to take Miz on this one. Bob says give Miz the IC belt, make it legitimate again. Well, it hasn't been defended on TV since September.
Well, and it also kind of depends on the status of Chris Jericho with the WWE. Jericho is the all-time leader in Intercontinental Championships. I know Miz is really, really close.
Yes,
and I think Jericho is still in good enough favor that they don't want the Miz to break that record.
Right. What do you got with the Women's Championship match, the Raw Women's Championship? The champion, Becky Lynch, taking on... Can't believe this is even a thing.
Don't call her that. Don't do it.
Taking on you-know-who.
Her name is Piper Niven. That's what we call her. Her name is Piper Niven. It's very much like, in Fight Club and Meatloaf, God rest his soul. He has a name. His name is Robert Paulson. She has a name, and her name is Piper Niven. And I refuse to call her that stupid name that the WWE has given her. This is a big match. And it's not a big match because of the result. Clearly, Becky Lynch is going to win this match.
Right.
Doudrop can make herself a star tonight. I mean, because inside of the WWE lexicon, if she goes out there and she has a great match with Becky Lynch tonight, I really believe Piper Niven could become that Daniel Bryan-like character where the fans just start to rally behind her because they gave her a stupid name and she's better than that. Like, I think this could be a real star-making performance for Piper Niven.
I mean, do you think she's actually capable of putting on that kind of
Absolutely. I've been following Piper, Viper, whatever you want to call her for, I don't know, probably 5-6 years at this point when she was over in Stardom and when she was working in the UK before she ever appeared in the Mae Young Classic. The chick can go. Yeah. And she's got, I'm not into bigger girls, but she's got a great look for the guys that are, and those guys are out there. She's great on the mic. She can go in the ring. I think that she could really get over in this match tonight if they let her go out there and put on like a 12 to 14 minute match with Becky Lynch. I think the fans could really get behind Piper in a loss here.
Absolutely. And at this point in the year, given what we knew like 6, 7, 8 months ago, did you ever think that Piper would be in a women's championship match and not Eva Marie? Like, no. She's still around and Eva's gone.
Absolutely. I mean, she'll do just about anything that you ask her to do.
Maybe I should go to St. Louis then.
Hey, I mean,
just saying,
do it up.
So obviously we're both in agreement. I can't argue with that. Becky is definitely going to win, especially with what we think is going to happen later on in the Women's Rumble. But I do hope Piper puts on a fantastic match, and I hope at some point she can kind of shed this gimmick and just become a monster, like a monster heel. Do it better than Nia Jax could, because Nia sucked. Because
what we need is the people of St. Louis to work with us tonight. Mm. And throughout this match, the only chant that I want to hear is Piper Niven. And just, I want like 40,000 people. That's what it's going to take for like 40,000 people that just get behind her and just everybody start chanting her name. She has a name. Her name is Piper Niven.
All right, moving on to the first championship match, which I believe, I'm not exactly sure what the order of the match is, but Brock Lesnar against Bobby Lashley. I think if you asked or if you polled the wrestling audience, 95% of them think Brock Lesnar is going to lose his title. And it's because of outside interference from either Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, or the Usos. What say you?
I think people are going to be very disappointed in this match. I mean, above everything else, there's not many dream matches that the WWE still has in their pocket. Mm-hmm. And while I'm not one of them, there's a lot of people 3-4 years ago that were screaming for Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. We finally get it because of Roman's COVID diagnosis. That's the only reason this match is happening.
Yeah.
And the creative program that they have given us is Brock Lesnar doesn't even know who Bobby Lashley is. That's the storyline that they've given us.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, I think that is very much the way WWE views Bobby Lashley. They think that, Bobby Lashley's great, but he's not Brock Lesnar. He's not even in the same stratosphere as Brock Lesnar. We're going to make Lashley look good. The bell's going to ring. Lashley's going to jump on Brock, get a surprise attack, hit him with everything that he's got. Brock's going to kick out at 2. Lashley's going to come off the ropes. Brock's going to catch him in a fireman's carry, hit him with an F5, pin him, and go collect his paycheck. I do not think this is going to be one of the great Brock Lesnar matches. I don't think this is going to be the AJ Styles match, the Finn Balor match, the Daniel Bryan match. I think this is going to be more of a squash where Bobby gets one up on Brock and then Brock just happens to catch Bobby, and people are going to be pissed.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, I almost think that's better than them going 12 to 14 minutes.
Right.
And then Brock beats him. I mean, like, I almost feel like it's better if you just make Lashley look strong at the beginning of the match. He beats down Brock. Brock wasn't ready for Bobby. And then Brock just catches him with an F5. And that's the match.
So you don't think that he would pull like a Goldberg Brock where Lashley just fucking spears the shit out of him and pins him in, less than a minute?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you really want to put Bobby Lashley over. You give him his signature win against Brock Lesnar.
I don't think they view Bobby Lashley in that context.
I don't think so either, but we could always hope, right? I mean, I absolutely believe that Lashley deserves it. I loved his run at Impact when he really just came into his own and realized that he loves wrestling.
I also don't view Bobby Lashley in that context.
No kidding.
And it's no disrespect to Lashley. I think he's a hell of a talent. He's just been incredibly poorly booked over the course of his career. He should be Brock Lesnar, but he has not been booked in that context. If Bobby Lashley was gone from Monday Night Raw tomorrow, I don't think the rating moves in any way, shape, or form.
That's fair.
If Brock Lesnar is gone, people are turning their TV off.
Yeah. No, that's true. No, you're absolutely right about that. I don't know. I'm just to be different from you because we can't agree on everything. I'm actually going to pick Lashley to win this match. I do think that hopefully there's some kind of outside interference. And we'll move into the men's rumble right after this because I think Brock is going to enter it.
Well, I think
the title and then just fucking steamroll.
The two sexiest options for the winner of the Rumble are either Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. I think a lot of people feel like one of them is going to get screwed tonight. They're going to enter the Rumble, win the Rumble, and that's how we get to WrestleMania. I think we just disagree on which one of those champions that's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's the only logical scenario for either one. It's either the Roman show or it's the Brock show.
For me, I feel like Roman Reigns needs something else. I feel like the Roman Reigns act is getting a little bit stale. And I think it's time for Roman Reigns to get pissed off.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we've seen cool, calm Roman Reigns for a while.
Agreed.
And now we need another dynamic to this character as we go towards WrestleMania, because I don't think they can make it to WrestleMania with the Roman Reigns character the way that it is right now.
Well, he's been a chicken shit heel, right? He's been an old school heel where, either Paul would help him out or the Usos would bail him out. And he needs to be that dominant factor again. And if you really do piss him off, like you said,
you need aggression. There's no aggression to the Roman Reigns character right now. He gets screwed.
Yeah.
And now he's pissed off because he got screwed. Now Roman Reigns he's dangerous. And that's a dynamic we haven't seen in a while.
And that's when he can really say, I am the head of the table.
Yep.
I ran through the entire fucking roster and earned my spot. So,
whereas if Brock does it, it's just like, it's par for the course. It's Brock,
Right. True.
I think Roman gets more out of it.
Do you think they maybe reward someone like Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn who re-signed their contracts and possibly give them a sneaky win?
Kevin Owens, I do think is a possibility. He's on my list of 6 guys that I think that you should actually consider as a potential winner of the Rumble. Sami Zayn's not in that context. I mean, I wish he was. I think Sami Zayn's probably the best babyface of like the last 10 years, but they book him as a chicken shit heel. And it's maddening to me, but I cannot, after what happened with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns that one night where Zayn got squashed by both of them, I cannot take Sami Zayn as a main event talent at this point. He has to completely reinvent himself.
So of the names that we know of that I have listed here on the graphic for those that are watching, we have Sheamus, we have Kofi, we have Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Big E, the Mysterios, the Street Profits, Happy Corbin, and obviously his little sidekick there. What the fuck are they calling him now, by the way? I forgot.
Madcap Moss.
Madcap Moss. What a waste of talent, I'm telling you. Johnny Knoxville. Hey, he's a shot. He's a wild card.
There's your Sami Zayn spot.
Right. Austin Theory and Damian Priest. So Austin Theory, they're making a big deal out of him. He's getting a rub from the chairman.
Yeah, Austin Theory is in bold letters on my list of the 6 guys to take seriously here. I feel like if you want to make a new star, put Austin Theory over. I mean, why the hell not, right? But then I heard something about Shane McMahon returning, and I was like, oh, so that's going to be the Shane McMahon match at WrestleMania. It's going to be Vince McMahon is now treating you like his son, and I actually am his son, and I want my daddy back.
That's smart, dude. That's real smart.
So I'm going with Shane McMahon to eliminate Austin Theory from tonight's Royal Rumble to set up that program.
I like that. Now, what do you think of a guy like AJ Styles, who's been there, done it all? He's kind of been real, soft the last year or so with the tag team stuff. But
they're kind of trying to rebuild AJ. Like all of a sudden they're talking about him. He's a sure first ballot Hall of Fame, AJ Styles.
Obviously he is, and regardless, but
kind of a reframing on the commentary. It's interesting. And I think AJ is going full bore babyface at this point, which is important too. Yeah. If Seth Rollins would win the championship of the universe from Roman Reigns, I think AJ Styles is a real legitimate chance of winning the Royal Rumble. AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, that seems like a good WrestleMania program to me.
That's a hell of a match, really, for two athletes that can go. And I love what Rollins is doing right now with his character. He's really kind of found himself.
If you're going to give us Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, that's not going to be the most technical, best wrestling match in the world. It's going to be a fight, right? Like, and I'm down for that, especially at WrestleMania. But they do like to give the fans that one match that it's just like, damn, that felt like New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was incredible. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, that's that match.
I almost wish that Seth had the Money in the Bank right now, because I would love to see another screw job at WrestleMania where he runs in and wins and just fucking celebrates, right? Like that was such an iconic moment in San Francisco. Like nobody will ever forget that. But
I like Joker Seth Rollins. I mean, like I feel like that's where we're at now as far as his character goes. He even had the purple suit last night on SmackDown, right? So like I feel like we're full on Joker Seth now, which is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. WG Phil says, I hope it's Priest. Priest is not a spring chicken. Like he's in his 40s, right? Or close to it.
Close to it.
I don't see him, doing much after, probably the next couple of years. He might start to wind it down. When do you pull the trigger on him? Or is he just going to be like the mid-card U.S. champion for the rest of his career?
I like Priest, but I don't think this is the time with him as the U.S. champion. His WrestleMania program's already kind of built around the U.S. title.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
Shout out to Paul. What's up, my friend?
What's up, Paul? What's up, Mr. Bubba Matt? Babo thinks AJ is going to eliminate Omos, and that'll be his big revenge spot.
I think Omos is a potential winner of this thing. And it's kind of in the Austin Theory thing. We know Vince McMahon likes really tall people, and they're going to make a big deal out of Omos tonight. I almost think that he might come close to the elimination record, but I have Omos being eliminated by Kane. Yeah, we're going to bring Kane back for the Rumble.
That would be pretty awesome. And I was thinking of who would take the Kane spot, and Omos was one.
It's still Kane's.
Braun Breaker could be another one to just clean house, maybe eliminate 13 people or so.
If you put Kane and Braun Breaker in the ring face to face, Kane is going to have to like squat down in a chair to look Braun Breaker in the eye. Like he's no Kane. But I think Glenn Jacobs is still in good enough shape that you bring him back every year strictly for the Royal Rumble. I mean, he like historically, he's been in the most Rumble matches. He has the most eliminations in Rumble history. They screwed Kane by having Braun Strowman eliminate like 40 people in the greatest Royal Rumble ever and Blood Money 2. And so like Kane has to get his record back. He deserves it. This is Kane's spot. Kane eliminates Omos.
I like it. Bubba Matt says Braun Breaker in the Rumble will be epic. I expect him to be in there. I really do. I expect him.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't like it because Braun Breaker, to me, is one of those people right now that you have to protect him at all costs. If he's not going to win it, I don't like him in the Rumble match.
He can't do the Keith Lee spot that we had a couple years ago.
The Keith Lee spot. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, as the NXT champion, I don't want to be eliminated in the Rumble. I would rather not be in the Rumble. I'd want to protect that character a little bit more than
Drew McIntyre obviously is injured. He has some neck issues going on. Do you see him at all coming in tonight?
I don't. I wish I did, because early on I had Drew McIntyre kind of earmarked as the winner of the Rumble, because I felt like they were going towards a triple threat with Drew and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. So I had Drew winning this thing. Him being out is kind of what's opened this thing all up.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I would just kind of love to see him and Brock go at it again and go for the Claymore, and Brock's too smart for him now, and he kind of gets his little elimination, his win back, so to speak, and
that'd be cool.
Beats out Drew. I mean, that would be kind of a cool moment.
Yeah.
Eli, what's going on, Eli? Braun wins and vacates the NXT title to go after the Universal title. I mean, stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how open it is this year when it comes to the Rumble.
Yep. I mean, I can only really think of maybe 5 people on a real short list that could possibly win. Like, that's how bad, not saying how bad the roster is, but that's just how thin they are at main event talent.
Yeah, my list is Austin Theory, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Omos, and then the names we haven't talked about, Rey Mysterio, strictly because he's on the cover of the new WWE 2K22 game, and they could use it to market that.
True.
Big E, I thought, was kind of poised to where maybe he could take a run at the Rumble, and then he's just been booked horribly the last couple of weeks, so I've kind of ruled him out, but I still got him on the list. And then the other two are RK Bro. I could see where it comes down to Riddle and Orton, and either one eliminating the other. If we're going to break up RK Bro, which I think is the direction that we're going, I almost would rather do it now rather than postpone it to WrestleMania, because I think you could get 2 matches out of both those guys instead of 1.
Have you enjoyed them as a tag team?
I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun. I hope Riddle's the one that turns heel.
Agreed. Yeah. We don't need to see Orton's been back and forth so many times. He doesn't need to go over on anybody anymore. Like, give Riddle his signature win against Randy Orton at a WrestleMania. That really puts him over. You're
not going to get Randy Orton booed in 2022. No, I mean, he's the most over guy on the freaking roster. He's a legacy star. People love Randy Orton. They love the music and they pop for him all the time. The RKO is a babyface move. It's always been a babyface move. Yep. And we really need to reframe Riddle if we're going to do anything with him going forward. And much like Priest, Riddle's no spring chicken, man. Like, if you're going to make money with Riddle, you need to do it now. But you got to get him more serious. You got to reframe that character. You turn him heel on Randy Orton.
I'm tired of seeing the goofy stoner, surfer, whatever bullshit he's been doing for his whole career. I do want to see him as just a badass.
Yep.
From the
US. Badass fighter.
Yeah, badass fighter. And even though he's small, he can still fuck anybody up. I would love to see that kind of a Matt Riddle, because we haven't seen it before. And Randy doesn't need the title. No. So if you want to keep him out of the title picture and have a really good, solid matchup at WrestleMania, then I definitely would go for Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, 100%. Yeah.
And again, either one of them against Seth Rollins is fun.
Right. Yes. I was talking to Jason Powell the other day about Happy Corbin. He hates the way they've treated Baron Corbin the last couple of years. To me, he's a hell of a talent. He's one of the most improved on the roster in the last 3-4 years. Really kind of, he gets it now. You know what I mean? Like, he was a little green in NXT, but eventually the light bulb went on and he got it. He goes from main eventing with Seth Rollins to getting dog food shoved in his face by Roman Reigns to all the stuff that he's doing now. Obviously, he's a team player. He must enjoy what he's doing. He's happy to be there. But I want to see the lone wolf back. I want to see a real dominant Baron Corbin, because he is a stud, a 100% stud in the ring, and really improved his promos. And I want to see him kind of get back to that old school former NFL player, just kind of fucking crack skulls.
I feel like, and I never wish this on anybody, okay? But and he has been going pretty hard for the last couple of years. So maybe this could just be an angle, right?
True.
Baron Corbin needs an injury. Baron Corbin needs to go away for 3 months.
At least. Yeah.
And then come back a completely reframed badass. Then I could maybe get behind it. But the way that he is being booked as Happy Corbin, I can't do it.
No, I can't either. I didn't mind, sad, broken down, destitute Corbin, because he did really well with that.
It was fun. He's showing his range. I'll give him that.
but don't be the Santino. You know what I mean? And no offense to Santino, I love him, but
when you need main event talents and you have somebody like Baron Corbin, and this is what you're doing with him,
yeah,
I kind of question it. And it's kind of like the Austin Theory thing, right? Like we were talking on No DQ the other night about the difference between the way AEW is making stars and the way WWE is making stars. And I got to thinking about Austin Theory because he's probably the biggest name that they've kind of made over the course of the last WrestleMania call-up season.
Yes.
Right? Austin Theory, since he's been called up to the main roster, has 10 wins and 30 losses. And you wonder why people aren't getting behind him?
I mean, a lot of that came from the pandemic time, right? When he was with Andrade and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he lost to Finn Balor, God knows how many times.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, if you're going to book somebody to be a loser, like why don't people like Dolph Ziggler anymore? Because he loses like half the time. You look at his win-loss over the course of his career. He's like 47% win, 52% lost. He's like the very definition of 50-50 booking, and nobody takes him seriously. And you're going to do that to Austin Theory if you're not careful.
That's a very good point. Eli wants to know, Bray Wyatt comes back as Wyndham, or is that not possible at all?
I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think Bray Wyatt's coming back.
His YouTube channel has been very active lately. He's been putting out these cryptic videos that he wants to be back. I bring him back as old school Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family, and get away from the Fiend. But he's gonna go somewhere.
It's unfortunate because I feel like the best landing spot for Bray Wyatt creatively is in Impact Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody watches Impact Wrestling, and I would never willingly send anybody there.
Right. And AEW wouldn't know what to do with him. He would get lost in the shuffle.
I mean, just creatively, it's just like, look at everything they've done with Rosemary and the Undead Realm and the Final Deletion, and like just the amount of rope that they give their creative talent inside of Impact. It feels like that's the best landing spot for Bray Wyatt, but I don't want him to go to Impact Wrestling.
I know. I'm in the same spot. You're right. And I do love a lot of the creative stuff that they do.
Mm-hmm. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, but they do a lot of it.
Yeah, no, they do. Any other long shots you see that could possibly win the Rumble that we're not thinking of?
Well, I mean, I still feel like the two best options are Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They really don't have anybody I can think of that they would bring back to win the Rumble. Like I know some people have talked about Goldberg, that it doesn't, Rumble win doesn't really strike me as the kind of thing that Vince wants to make sure that Goldberg gets. Is there anybody else like a legacy star that you could see coming back to win this thing? Because I don't see one. Mark
Calloway is in St. Louis. He's there at the event. We don't know in what capacity, but you never know.
I assume that they're going to announce Undertaker for Hall of Fame, especially with WrestleMania being in Dallas. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. I don't think he's going to be in the Rumble match. And even if he won the Rumble match, when you look at all the possibilities, Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker, don't want to see it. Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, don't want to see it. Seth Rollins versus Undertaker doesn't even sound appealing to me. And Bobby Lashley versus Undertaker doesn't really do a whole lot for me either. Yeah. And you don't want Undertaker in the Rumble if he's not going to win it. So sure. I pass on Undertaker in the Rumble.
How about Bad Bunny?
I mean, hey, somebody could throw him through a table. Complete the Damian Priest heel turn. He's the one that eliminates Bad Bunny. There you go.
Yes, no, that's absolutely right. Let's move on to the Women's Rumble. I'm only down to one person. It's got to be Ronda Rousey because we know she's there. We don't know, she's not confirmed to be in the actual match, but if she is there, and many sources have said that she is, including Brad Shepard, in what capacity would she be there if she's not in the match?
Rousey is my pick to win this thing. She's been my pick to win this thing for a while. Especially if you're going to have Roman Reigns smash everybody, you need some kind of press coming out of it because people are going to be pissed about that. So Ronda Rousey, that gets you the TMZ highlight, the ESPN highlight. You're off and running as far as promoting WrestleMania goes. There's only one other woman in the Rumble that gives you that coverage, but we'll talk about her here in a minute in case Rousey's not in it. What I think I would do. Rousey just seems the logical option, right? I mean, at this point.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I can't see anybody else I would even want to win. I mean, I'm just tired of seeing Charlotte. Rhea Ripley had her chance. I think the bus has left her. Bianca Belair has been destroyed. I don't see, unless you want to build her back up and maybe get her the win. Other than that, you got a bunch of nostalgia. You got
Bianca's on my list because I still feel like the match that people really want to see this year is Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, right? Now, if that's the case, why not just put Belair over in the Rumble? Because if Rousey shows up, people are going to want to see Rousey versus Becky Lynch.
True.
So where does that leave Bianca Belair?
Well, how about this? Do we know if there's going to be a women's elimination chamber match or it's just going to be the men's?
Well, I assume the elimination chamber is going to happen in Saudi Arabia, which is why they want to change the name of it to the WrestleMania chamber, because, elimination chamber might carry a certain connotation in certain parts of the world, Jamal Khashoggi. So I don't think we're going to get a women's elimination chamber because I assume elimination chamber is going to happen in Saudi Arabia.
It is. But if they do happen to have a women's elimination chamber match, I can see Ronda winning that one.
But then again, still, where does that leave Bianca then? I mean, if the match is Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch,
I don't know if it is though. That's my opinion.
But that's the match that people want to see, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
especially if you're going to frame Becky as a heel and Ronda as a babyface. Ronda's going to get booed. People are going to wish it was Bianca. And then Charlotte's still standing over there with her dick in her hand. Yes, I said that intentionally, ladies and gentlemen. Charlotte's standing there with her dick in her hand going, so what's my freaking Mania match? Because all the emphasis is on Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair not being part of it. It becomes the Daniel Bryan story. The people rally behind Bianca Belair. And Charlotte's like, so what the hell am I doing?
Do you think Charlotte's been kind of, I don't want to say taken to the woodshed, but because of everything with Andrade and Charlotte not being around a lot this year, and
she's still the women's champ over on SmackDown, right? I mean,
true.
It's hard. Anybody can complain about their booking except for Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns. Like people talk about Roman Reigns being shoved down your throat. Oh my God. Charlotte has been shoved so far down your throat that she's come out of your asshole, and now she looks like a completely different person. I mean, oh wait, no, that she does look like a completely different person. But Charlotte has been booked she might have the best booking of anybody that I've ever seen in the history of the WWE. She cannot complain about her booking. But I did feel like a couple of weeks ago that the Royal Rumble was being set up for Sasha Banks to be the winner, Banks to challenge Charlotte Flair, and then you can do whatever you want with Becky Lynch over on Monday Night Raw. And lo and behold, Sasha Banks shows up last night on SmackDown. Should we be looking at Sasha and Charlotte as what this is setting up rather than anything to do with Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, or Ronda Rousey?
Is Sasha clear to wrestle with the injury she had at a house show?
I mean, she said she was ready to rumble last night, so
that's possible. What about Bayley? We're kind of overlooking Bayley.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the status is with Bayley right now, but she would be on my short list as well.
I think it'd be great for her to come back, and nobody would even expect her to be there, and she could be the whole thing.
Carmella is on my short list because, I mean, for one reason or another, they freaking love Carmella. Yeah. It sounded like Lita was going to be back for more than just kind of a short stint here. Maybe Lita wins the Rumble. She challenges Charlotte, and that's your WrestleMania main event. I mean, you can make a case there. Outside of that, the biggest star in this women's Rumble, not named Ronda Rousey, is Nikki Bella.
Yeah, agreed.
Nikki Bella versus Charlotte Flair. That sure sounds like a WrestleMania match to me.
Yeah, and a lot of people have slept on Nikki, but they forget she really got good until she got injured. And
it sounded like she was cleared for more than just a one-off return.
Right. I think both of them want to come back, to be quite honest, and both of them will be in the Rumble. But I think both of them
would be buried inside of the WWE right now because of what's going on with Danielson over in AEW. I don't see them giving Brie that kind of platform. I think Nikki eliminates Brie tonight, and
smart.
You might get something going forward with Nikki. I don't think Brie's going to be around a whole lot.
Can you revive someone like Shayna Baszler, who should be a dominant heel and run through everybody like she did the Elimination Chamber a few years ago?
Absolutely, but I don't expect it. I mean,
unfortunate because I was really high on her coming out of NXT.
I'm still really high on her. I think Shayna has shown incredible range over the course of her WWE main roster run. Unfortunately, the way the women's division works is everybody just kind of waits for their turn.
Yeah.
And so it just falls flat. They don't book any of the women strong except for Charlotte Flair and now Becky Lynch because she got herself over.
Right. Bobo thinks Asuka's going to return and win.
I think it's possible Asuka returns. I don't think that she wins. And I really don't want to see Asuka versus Charlotte because that just gives me PTSD like throwbacks to when, Asuka was undefeated for 914 days. Not that I've looked that number up recently or anything. She undefeated 914 days, runs into Charlotte Flair. Come on.
Paul says as long as Nikki Ash doesn't win the Rumble. Yeah, that's, we're really into the depths of hell if we get her winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Nothing against Nikki Cross. I love her, but
it's the character. The character is awful.
She's turned into Mighty Molly, and there's no way to get her out of that.
No, there's no way to get her out of that.
All right. So overall, I think we're both going with Rousey on this one.
How about this? There's only 23 women announced for the Rumble.
Right.
Who else can they possibly bring back?
Oh, the nostalgia stuff. I mean, I don't know. Is Kelly announced?
Here is the list of the announced women for the Rumble. Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Shotzi Blackheart, Natalia, Michelle McCool, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Zelina Vega, Mickie James, Tamina, Kelly, Aaliyah, Summer Rae, Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Lita, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville. NXT call-ups? Does Io finally show up?
Io would be a great one. Yeah. No, that's true.
Is there anybody else in NXT?
What happened to Xylee? Didn't she get called up?
She got called up, but she's not on the list.
Interesting. Well, she might be one then. I'm surprised she's not on the list.
You know what? She pissed me off the other night, Rad Rob. You know why? Because one of her friends was getting beat up inside the ring, right?
Okay.
Now, if I'm getting beat up, we're in a bar, okay? I've had a little too much whiskey, and some dude decides that he wants to kick my ass. Some dude starts whipping my ass. You come to make the save. Don't feel it necessary to stop and do all kinds of poses and a little dance routine before you come and save my ass.
I could, though.
I want to see the dance routine.
And I'm a good dancer. Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. It's like the AEW, when they hit, really anybody, when they hit the invisible wall and they just
CM Punk has no friends. CM Punk's getting beat up by 5 guys. Nobody comes to save CM Punk.
Nah, I wouldn't say Punk to save. No. Kairi Sane.
I don't think Kairi Sane shows up. Kairi Sane is in Japan, and getting into and out of Japan is incredibly difficult right now. I think she's keeping her ass there.
Well, we haven't really touched on Mickie James. You did mention she's in the match, but obviously the supposed forbidden door is open between Impact and WWE. Do you see anybody else from any other companies? Maybe Shimmer, maybe
the forbidden door is not open. Okay, this is they're bringing back Mickie James. Mickie James just happens to be the current Impact Wrestling Women's Champion. They're not bringing in the Impact Wrestling Women's Champion. If it was anybody other than Mickie James, this is not. They're bringing back Mickie. They're not bringing in somebody from another company. They're bringing back a former WWE superstar. That's what they're doing. No, I don't see anybody else. I know people Moose really wanted to be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon was like, who the hell is Moose? And then Bruce Pritchard was like, remember that big black guy that we passed on because he's got some serious problems in his past and you didn't want to deal with the PR? Oh yeah. Damn. I liked him too. That's how that conversation went.
So yeah, the marks were losing their minds with the possibilities of either the men's or the women's Rumble, like Chris Jericho showing up in the Rumble, MJF showing up in the Rumble.
No.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. What about Christian? What the hell is he doing?
Christian is now playing the part of Marco Stunt. Like if you ever watched soap operas back in the day, right? They would be like, and now playing the part of Rad Rob, we have Michael Jargo, right? And then you would watch the episode, and then Rad Rob be back like the next episode, right? So currently, Christian is playing the part of Marco Stunt inside of AEW, and he is the manager of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Oh, Christ. I told you I don't like AEW anymore, so I'm completely out of the loop.
It's bad, bro. It's bad.
What?
I know the incredible tag division. I mean, you look at those tag teams.
It used to be.
Yeah. It's fire. And then on top, we have Jurassic Express. I do enjoy me a good Luchasaurus promo, though. That's it. That's how it goes.
Moving on to the final match, which, again, I don't know where it's going to be in the card, but this should be the final thing that we see on TV. Roman Reigns taking on his former Shield partner, Seth freaking Rollins, doing the best stuff of his career. A lot of people are overlooking. Yeah, he is really, really good. You mentioned earlier, you can see
Age of the Fall and Ring of Honor. I think that was the highlight of Seth Rollins' career.
Yeah, true. You said that you see Seth taking the title and then it becoming the Roman show in the Rumble. If that doesn't happen, do you see this being a competitive match at all?
Yes, absolutely. This is going to be the match of the night. I absolutely expect this is going to get the most time of a match that is not a Rumble match. These two guys have great chemistry together. Mostly because Seth is a bump machine and he's light enough that Roman can toss him around real easy. Right. Like when you look back on the matches these guys have had, they're always really freaking good. They have really good chemistry together. I expect this will be a fantastic match.
I can't argue with that. Are you still picking Seth to win as the dark horse?
Yeah, I'm going with Seth Rollins to win, mostly because I need Roman Reigns to lose that title. Right. And it's nothing against Roman. Like, I think the character is great. I love what he's doing. It just needs a new layer as we gear things up for WrestleMania season. And rather than the cool, calm mafia boss, I want the angry mafia boss who's ready to start putting hits out on people. And I want to see angry, vicious Roman Reigns rather than cool, calm, collected, and my shiny set of white teeth Roman Reigns.
I like your vision. I like your scenario. Personally, I hope that does happen. But my gut just says they're just not smart enough to do that.
Bro, to be fair, I have been calling for that Roman Reigns for at least 2 months now.
Okay, yeah.
And now I'm seeing like other people are starting to catch up to me. They're like, yeah, the act's getting kind of stale. And it's like, this is why I would have done it 2 months ago.
Right. Well, I mean, what do we do with the whole Paul Heyman thing? Like, they never ever paid off when he threw the belt in the ring. Nothing. And nobody ever knows like who was supposed to get that belt. We know he's kind of on the outs with Roman, but that just could be a ruse for Heyman to screw over Brock and realign back with Roman. Because
but then Brock is Heyman and Brock just showed up together and they're all chummy again, and it's weird.
It is weird. They could have done so much with this booking. And they've really dropped the ball on the entire thing. It's the best thing they had going in the company.
I think the most interesting thing for me tonight is what is the crowd reaction to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? Because I feel like people are getting real close to, we want to cheer Roman Reigns, which I think is all the more reason to take the belt from him and turn him a bit more vicious, because I don't think that they're ready inside of the narrative for people to cheer Roman Reigns. But Seth Rollins is still... He's Joker Seth Rollins, right? Like, the Joker is not a baby face. The Joker just enjoys chaos for the sake of chaos.
Fans are they love Seth Rollins too, so they could be on the verge of turning him as well.
Well, because I watched SmackDown the last 2 weeks, which I don't normally do, and it seemed like the fans were like singing Seth Rollins' song in the crowd and kind of enjoying, like, the Joker Seth Rollins. Like, I'm very curious how this is booked, who they try to make the baby face, what they want the crowd reaction to be, how the performers adjust to it if it's backwards from because I mean, it's an interesting dynamic with these two, both being heels that the people want to cheer right now.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, that may be the most compelling match of the entire night. I think you're right about that one, because something I didn't even think about is somebody has to take the role. Somebody has to lead the match as the heel. Do they flip back and forth like Rock and Hogan did at WrestleMania? Are they even good enough to do that?
Well, and it's the same thing with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, right?
True.
Like tonight, the story should be Bobby Lashley is the underdog babyface.
Yeah.
And it's not very often you can put Bobby Lashley in that position.
Right.
But he comes in on the heel side of the roster and Brock is the babyface. But all the sympathy is going to be on Lashley if this thing goes the way that I think it's going to. So I'm really interested in the crowd reaction to that too, because we're so conditioned to just boo Brock Lesnar, boo Paul Heyman, but they're clearly the baby faces. Bobby Lashley's the heel, but it's a very interesting perspective when the baby face tells the heel, I'm sorry, who are you? I've never even heard of you, man. I mean, like the whole creative is backwards.
It's an interesting choice of why they did that. And another interesting choice of putting Heyman with babyface Brock Lesnar, who is the best version of Brock Lesnar we've ever seen. It's literally his personality just cranked up a few notches, which always make the best characters. And they finally let Brock do what Brock wants to do and have the beard, the cowboy hat, and just be, jovial Brock Lesnar, which is fantastic. Dude, they had his match on today. We were having lunch at Chili's, and they had his Carwin match from UFC on, and Brock got the shit beat out of him in the first round. Face is, bloody and bruised, and he got out of it. Second round, dominates, double leg, takes him down, uses his weight on him, taps him out. I mean, Brock Lesnar is a fucking monster.
Yeah. He's the devil. He is the inside of the WWE narrative. Brock Lesnar is the devil. I mean, look at his Tron and the music and the way that Brock has been framed for years.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was hilarious at Blood Money a couple of years ago. They did the Jew versus the devil in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This year, we're going to one-up things. We're going to put the Jew in the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Yeah. Dude.
Really?
Really?
This company, man.
I'm telling you. No, you're right about that. Look, think about it this way. What else have we really seen? I mean, what more can you do that we haven't ever seen before? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you got to mix it up. You got to do something outside the box. We got happy fucking Brock Lesnar.
You know what else I'm looking forward to tonight as we wrap things up this week?
Yeah.
You ready for this? This is going to be the highlight of the Rumble for me. I'm waiting for Gunther to show up.
Oh.
Because I think Gunther might be in the Rumble. Okay. I want to see what happens the first time Gunther hits one of those big ass chops on Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment when he hits it on Randy Orton. Gunther is done.
Yeah,
because Randy Orton ain't putting up with that shit.
That's true. That's a good point.
I can't wait. I'm dying with anticipation.
I hope he does.
The first time Walter chops Randy Orton, because that's gonna be the end of that.
Yeah,
right then and there.
Yeah, he'll be wearing a dress on NXT next week. Final long shot, Big E. Can we redeem him and make him the monster and get away from the goofy fucking New Day shit and just have him be just a badass heel that runs through fucking everybody? Because that's what he should have been instead of what they had him do in his title reign. Because his title reign was so bad and he had so much potential. People were asking for years to see Big E go on his own, and he just did the same old gyrating fucking hokey bullshit.
I think you can reframe Big E. I thought that they went, Big E did the best with the material that he had during his championship reign. Okay. They just gave him shit material.
Yeah.
And that makes me really mad because I like Big E a lot.
I do too.
But the way that they have booked him the last 2 weeks with Kofi over on SmackDown, as it basically just, he's back to being a member of the New Day.
Yep. I
don't think Big E is going to win tonight. I'd love to see it. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Final thoughts, Bray Wyatt, yes or no?
I will pass on Bray Wyatt in the Rumble.
All right. I think he may still show up, but we'll see.
I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think you have a better chance of Braun Strowman showing up than Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, very true. All right, guys, that wraps it up. We're 10 seconds away from the WWE pregame show, so we're going to drop out here. We'll be back right after the Rumble goes off the air for our postgame wrap-up show. We'll see you guys after the show.